Welcome to the Unofficial Steelers Podcast, the podcast so unofficial it doesn't have a home. Here's your host, from In Hindsight, Nathan Heights. From Steelers Nation Australia, Mark Davison. And from State of the Steelers, Daniel J. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 44 of the Unofficial Steelers Podcast with my co-host Daniel J. Dr. J. Daniel, how's it going, dude? How's the week been? How's your Saturday been? What's been going on with you since last time you've been on here?
It's going well, man. A lot of things have been going pretty good. Some interesting stuff has happened in the last few days. We'll see how it plays out in the next couple of days. But things have been going well. Baby's growing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the little one.
Yeah, she's doing well. She's getting bigger.
I'm
maybe
sure.
just rounder.
yeah, just rounder.
Well,
don't we all feel like that?
Yeah, she's taking after dad. Hopefully not too much. But yeah, no, man. Yeah. But for the most part, it's just been a good week. Looking for another day closer to training camp. OTAs, there was some interesting stuff that's come out. Some pretty interesting things that maybe we'll be discussing here later.
Yeah, we definitely will. Those in the chat, those who are tuning in right now, welcome to the show, guys. Good to see you guys back. Brian, George, Steelers fan, Jared Devil, appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, good to see you guys. Hopefully you guys have been doing good this week. So really what we're going to do is really throughout the next 45 minutes to an hour or so, we're just really going to do a lot of questions and answers and different stuff when it pertains to the Steelers. It could pertain to the NFL, could pertain to really anything football related. Aquatic, what's up, man? Good to see you back. So really anything like that, if you guys want to put questions out there for us, different comments. Daniel and I are going to be talking about some stuff from OTAs, a couple things that are maybe worthy to talk about. And we'll be asking each other some different stuff. So it's not really a specific episode. We're just kind of going really just kind of as the show goes on. We're just kind of going with the flow as the show goes on for this week and stuff like that. But again, all you guys in the chat, good to see you. Thank you all for being here, guys. You guys can put comments, questions all throughout the show. We love when you guys are integrated, a part of the show, because that's what we like. We like when you guys are throwing stuff out there, putting your own thoughts out there, and we all can kind of whether talk about stuff or if it's a little certain back and forth debate on something, whatever the case is. So, but Daniel, we are finally out of June. Thank God. Thank God, dude. I hate June. I freaking hate June. Or not June, May. I mean, we're out of May.
I was going to say, man, it's just June just started.
June just started. We're out of May. We're out of May. This is what May does to me. Dude, May, to me, is the most dull and bland month of the year. You're not in summer. Spring is kind of starting to get its way through, and there's nothing going on. There's honestly really nothing going on.
Right.
And it's just whenever we get out of there, I'm so excited May's gone, because then you start getting into June. Okay, we're in summer. Training camps can be starting next month. And next thing you know, it's going to be football season. Fall's going to start getting here once we really kind of get through July. Fall's going to be starting to approach its way through. And it's a great feeling. May is just boring to me. I don't know about you out there in Texas, but I just hate May.
Well, May's not too bad, especially this one. It's been an enjoyable May for us. The temperature hasn't gone over 90, not too many times yet, which is unfathomable. I think last year at this time, there was already like 7 or 8, maybe even 10, triple-digit days, over 100 degrees. And that hasn't happened. It's been, in the 80s for the most part. So it's actually been pretty bearable right now. I've actually been enjoying May.
Yeah, that's good, dude. Speaking of, so your wife's Steelers fan here in the chat, she says pizza question. Now, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion for you guys, but I don't really like Fiore's.
What? When did you go?
I went, geez, how long ago was that? That was like in March I went for the first time. Right. And their sauce to me is like a sweet sauce, and I don't like it really for pizza. And dude, it's way overpriced.
Well, I mean,
dude, we got 2 small pizzas and it was over $30.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sounds about accurate, but their small pizzas are pretty big.
Yeah, I didn't think it was worth it though. I know a lot of people like it, but it's not really my type of pizza.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. We thought it was pretty good. I think your driverless just went down too, though. I just
yeah, like Kelsey likes it and stuff. It's not that like I wouldn't like ever have it, but like I wouldn't go out of my way to get it. And it's just more so because the sauce. I'm just not a sweet sauce on pizza type guy.
So what would you recommend out there in the Berg?
Well, I'll be honest, like out in the Berg and stuff like that, I'm not really out like in Pittsburgh, like really too much. Like I'm really, the only time I'm really out there is if I'm going to like a sport game or something, Penguins, Pirates, Steelers, whatever. But more so my area is I'm about like 40 minutes south of Pittsburgh. So like you're probably not really going to get any pizza out this way. You're gonna be more so busy. So I couldn't really recommend to you like a good Pirates are 4-1. Let's go. Yeah, I can't really recommend to you a specific pizza place. That's probably something you'd have to like look up or maybe like kind of like see what's rated high in the Pittsburgh area. So honestly, I couldn't really tell you.
Gotcha. Well, that was a lot for not nothing.
yeah, pretty much to be honest with you. But yeah. So since your wife brought up the pizza, I know you guys both really like Flores when it came out here. I thought I'd let you know.
No, yeah, I appreciate your opinion. I still think it's pretty bomb.
It's pretty unpopular, I think, around here. But I think if the sauce was more so my kind of like just normal pizza sauce or stuff like that, I'd like it a lot better. Gotcha. I just don't really like the sweet sauce on pizza. I never really did, but it's okay. It's okay though.
Did you eat it there or did you take it home?
No, we ate it there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we sat down and got it and stuff like that. And so like I walked up, like the one that I went to probably isn't the one that you go to. The one I go to is in South Hills up here. I don't know if you've been in the South Hills area for any of the times that you've visited down here. But I walked in. Or like we walked in and we're just looking at the menu like, okay, we'll just get like 2 small sizes for both of us. There was no pricing or anything. And she's like, yeah, they'll be 38 and some. I'm like, God, $38.
You start bringing out the dishwasher, the dish rag. You're like, I'm ready.
Yeah. $38 2 small pizzas. So, but yeah, so obviously that's on your guys' agenda usually every time you're out here, which is great.
Yeah, we usually get like a medium or one single medium or one single.
Yeah, Kelsey just likes different toppings and stuff like that on her, so that's why we just kind of like split it. But I didn't think it'd be $30. So
yeah,
well, but it's okay. It's okay.
How many toppings did you get? That might be a reason.
I'm not really. She just got like, I don't know, what'd you get? Pepperoni and like sausage on yours or something?
It's like a supreme style.
Yeah. No, she definitely didn't get like more than like 2 toppings. I just got like pepperoni on mine and she just kind of got hers. But like they kind of had like the when they had it listed in the sense of like the sizes and stuff. They kind of had it like listed with it, I think, where you could kind of tell like how big it was. So that's like, all right, well, we'll just kind of get like our own or whatever. So it was fine.
Good deal. Maybe it was the one you went to. You need to check out the one that's actually, I guess, in Pittsburgh. That's the one that we went to.
It could have been. It could have been because like even though if they're the same company, you know, maybe like since that's more so the OG, it might be, you know, a little better or something like that. Yeah, it might be a little bit better, stuff like that. But it's not to say like I wouldn't ever have it again. Like if I was hanging out with you and you're like, hey man, I kind of want to go to Forey's, I go with you and I get pizza there.
Nice.
Yeah, but like it's not. I just wouldn't like. It's not. It's just. I just wouldn't go out my way and like call and like order it or anything.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. That's just me though. I know it's unpopular, but what are you gonna do? So it's okay though. But anyway, guys, this is not a pizza review. This is not a pizza podcast here. So we will leave Fiore's for those who like to go and like it themselves. So if you guys in the chat have never had it, if you're out here, maybe be willing to give it a try if you're ever out here in the Pittsburgh area and see how you guys like it. So it's pretty well-known pizza place in the Pittsburgh area. But all right. So starting off here, Daniel, I'm going to answer two things here, and I'm asking you a quick question here. Brian
Sounds
says,
good.
"Does it feel like the Steelers have 200 players on their team?"
It depends. Maybe on the offense.
Yeah.
Well, maybe so on the defense. It's just kind of it's been kind of slim on the outside linebacker, but I think they've picked up a lot of players there too. I think they're good. Good. They're solid. I think they've got some depth in some key places. Maybe a middle linebacker away still. Maybe Quan Alexander comes back around or something.
Yeah. I don't know really what the deal is with that. I don't know if it's just something like things went good in their interview, but they're just kind of waiting to see what he wants to do, maybe.
Right. Maybe he's going to wait for an injury or something, see if he can get something that's a little bit higher in the pocket.
It's definitely possible. Deja Vu, hello, Claudie, what's up, man? So Daniel, I'm going to ask you, what did you think about Kevin Dotson's comments?
Which ones?
The ones of where he kind of, I don't know if I want to say threw him under the bus, but didn't really promote Broderick Jones too much.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't so much he threw him under the bus. He just kind of felt that. I think he sounds kind of sour. He sounds pretty sour at the end of the day,
because he was talking like Derwin Gray or something on like
I saw that, and he was just kind of saying like, I don't know why they drive to the left tackle. Dan Moore's doing fairly well, and then he kind of threw in a jab like same thing about like I'm not really sure why they brought in Sayamalu without saying like those words, but you kind of could feel what he was trying to say, and like I said, he seemed just kind of sour about the situation. I think he felt that the offensive line was moving in the right direction last season, which to an extent it was. But, a lot of the reasons why Kenny Pickett wasn't sacked more last season was because of his ability to, move in the pocket. And so I get it. You want to fight for your job and do this and that, but there's two different approaches to it. Dan Moore hasn't complained about it. We haven't heard Dan Moore do anything. He transformed his body, according to reports. He's looks thinner but is heavier, meaning that he packed on some muscle, dropped some baby fat, which is hard to do. I'm still trying to do that at my age, and so
not easy.
It ain't easy. So he was able to do that so far up in this offseason to a certain extent. Still maintain some weight, and I think he saw the writing on the wall. And instead of just kind of moping and going on podcasts and, complaining about it, he started working his craft on the right side and now is taking first team reps with the right side as right tackle. I think that's big because, they're not just taking Dan Moore out and then plugging in Broderick Jones on the left side and leaving the right side alone. They're moving Dan Moore there. I think that tells me that that's where the actual battle is, not so much at left tackle.
Yeah, he definitely did sound sour. And honestly, this is nothing toward Kevin Dotson. Don't know him personally. I'm sure he's a cool dude and stuff like that. And I get it too. Like if you're somebody who is in a big kind of position for your job, your career, and somebody else brings somebody in to kind of replace you. Yeah, I get it. Like I think really anybody would feel a certain way about that. But also when it comes to professional football, like everybody has to realize you're ultimately replaceable.
Yeah.
And so even though, okay, I can get in terms of Dotson the way he feels, I think really anybody would ultimately feel like that just looking at it regardless. But Dan Moore's doing the right approach. He's not saying anything. He's getting himself better. He has an opportunity to battle out on the other side of the line, and it's good for Okorafor as well. But Dotson, he sounds a little petty. He sounds a little disgruntled, and like, dude, you weren't good. You weren't good last year. You haven't really been good really at all throughout your career for anybody to warrant you as a starter. And even Dan Moore, he had some good things over his 2 years as a starter, but he also had some bad things. and the Steelers found an opportunity to get better at that side, and they did. But clearly there's something in him they still like, and they're really seeing how he pans out on the other side over the offseason. But Dotson just, I don't know. I think that's just kind of a crappy response, honestly. Just saying, oh, I don't know why they brought this guy in, or why not just look, man, I'm just gonna just keep doing better. I'm gonna keep getting better, get myself better, keep working hard, and let everything fall into place.
If the Steelers don't have any injuries, if everybody stays healthy, week 1, do you still see Dotson on the roster? Or do you think they're trying to deal him away?
I think he could still be on the roster.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't think they'll just deal him away to do it. I think if you have him as like a backup type guy, somebody who has started before, I don't think it's a bad thing to have. But I think that they're a little flexible as well if they would.
Here's why
if they would move him.
Here's why I think they might. He's not had the greatest. I don't know if it's work ethic or whatever. There's been rumors and reports that the Steelers management weren't too happy with him for extended period of times, and it was especially the year before last. And a lot of, I think it was DK Sports came out with it, and a lot of folks thought that it had something to do with his physical abilities, and it wasn't. And I think it had to do more with getting into the playbook and learning the left guard position. He also didn't follow up with doing the right preparation when it came to recovering his body. Mm-hmm. And so, he's already kind of going out there, going public and kind of complaining about some things. He's in his last year of his contract. The Steelers got a Herbig, to be that backup guard position. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think there might be some writing on the wall. And, if he sees that he's not really going to be given an opportunity to be a starter, which based on his statements where he's like, hey, you don't bring in a guy and pay a guy a bag to put him on the bench. Maybe the Steelers
pay a guy a bag.
Give a guy a bag.
That's what he said.
Yeah. I don't know if he said
they
it
didn't
give
him a bag or anything like that. He's just on a rookie contract.
No. He's talking about
Samalu. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, when you bring in a guy and you give the guy a bag.
Yeah.
The writing's on the wall. He's not it's his last year of his contract. Steelers are famously known to release players because they don't want, if they don't want to be there, they want volunteers, not hostages. And so, with that all being said, I don't know. I think there's a possibility if everybody remains healthy. I think if somebody definitely, if somebody goes down, he's definitely staying. No doubt about it. You also got to see what Herbig can do and some of the other rookies. It looks like, and I don't think anybody wants to hear this, but it looks like Kendrick Green is finding himself a position as a second string center.
Yeah. Well, hey, so if it's the case where people just kind of gotta sit there and see how it plays out, because clearly the Steelers, if they're going to keep around, clearly they like what they're seeing with him as a backup center.
Yeah, well, he was a horrible guard. He was a worse guard than he was a center. And he had some words too that I wasn't too impressed with. He said something to the effect that he knows it's his third year, but he feels like it's only his second year because he went from a rookie center, and in his second year they had him playing guard, and now they have him going back to center. So, it just seemed like an excuse. Hey, I'm still learning. Like, if you're still learning, just say you're still learning. You don't got to go in there and say, hey, I really don't feel like this is my third year because, I shouldn't be, this is more like my second year because I've done this position for 1 year. I just really didn't like the way it came off the page. And it felt kind of like excuse. But hey, you know what? I think it was Matt Williamson from DK Sports stated that he looked like he was doing pretty good back then. Looks like he might be revitalizing his career as a backup center. So
yeah. So with Dotson, it wouldn't surprise me either way if he would make the team or not. I think really with him, like, he can't sit there and expect himself that somebody's going to take him as a starter. He's not worthy of being a starter in the league right now. But if he just focuses on himself and does what he can to become a better player, there's going to be teams around the league that see that need another interior offensive lineman. Maybe they give the Steelers a call.
Yeah, 100%.
So he can't just kind of sit there and freaking put on a diaper and, put in a freaking binky in his mouth and think that that's the right way to go about it. So I don't really know what to tell you, Kevin. But another important thing that was, yeah, jet sweep. And another thing that was pretty worthy of talk last week at OTAs was Corey Trice, bro.
Oh yeah, man.
Dude, Corey Trice has gotten last week. He got a lot of not just hype but promotion from some of his teammates. But he had a pretty nice week. There was one week where they were doing whatever they were doing, and he had like 3 pass breakups and a pick. And he was getting some work with Patrick Peterson and getting some work with, I think, a little bit of first team guys. So not just that Corey Trice, I know a lot of people like the pick and like a lot of different intangibles about him, but the Steelers got to be happy these first 2 weeks of OTAs of what they're seeing with him. And he's going to get a nice look in the preseason. And
for sure.
I'm very excited. That's one guy that I've said, aside from a couple other their rookies, that not just me, but multiple other people think the same thing, but that he has the ability to be a capable player here and stuff like that down the line as like an actual starter.
100%. This guy definitely has the dreaded P word, the potential, to really be something, later on down the road. He's still very raw. He had 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. One was called back due to a pass interference, but some of the guys, said that it wasn't, they didn't feel like it was a pass interference. These guys that the Steelers are targeting, with the Joey Porter Jr., the Patrick Peterson, even if you go and look at his size and abilities as well, it's very similar. Corey Trice, very similar, tall, lengthy, physical, fast cornerbacks. Maybe Joey Porter Jr. maybe not so fast, but Patrick Peterson at one time in his career was blazing. Not so much now. Yeah, he's up there in age, but
dude, he was a beast, bro. He was a freaking.
I like it. And one thing about it though too is what we've learned from these OTAs is with Pat P is that he's been moving a lot into the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Now he got burned by Calvin Austin apparently, but that I think was like on one-on-ones and he just took them deep. And so I like Patrick Peterson in the slot. I think that, there's been a lot of times where we've had, a linebacker or one of the safeties, and Arthur Marlette, one of the slot guys in the slot cornerback position, when the opposition goes and puts a wide receiver 1 there. It's a mismatch. And, now that you have maybe Patrick Peterson in there, it's not so much so. And so I like that. And it also brings on Joey Porter Jr. onto the field. It's going to be exciting. Pat P said that he likes the slot. He says that he doesn't have to be as fast. And so I'm liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, I am too. And he knew, and he was all for in the sense that he wasn't just going to play outside.
Right.
And he said that he's embracing the opportunities. He's excited about what Tomlin wants to do with him. And that's what you want, dude. Like the guy's a leader. And I know with him on the Cardinals, dude, he's just always been a leader. He's always been a team player. But dude, he was in his prime though, man. He was a freaking baller. Like he was a top 3 corner throughout his entire career.
Oh, for sure.
No question about it. So even now, I still think he's got some good quality play left in him. But
me too.
It's kind of going to be fun to see what they do with some of these corners. I think there was a little point in time where there was where I think the first week of OTAs maybe where Levi Wallace got a little bit of a look in the slot. But they got some flexibility. They got some things that they can see what works, what doesn't work. Sullivan got a little bit work in the slot as well his first week. So they got some things that they can really see what they like versus what they don't like and all that kind of stuff like that. But with Corey Trice, though, he really he's gonna be given a big opportunity in preseason, and like if he comes on during that, and even if some little season goes on, who knows? Even maybe by next year, maybe he might be right there and high on the depth chart.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
I know Patrick Peterson wants to play at least one more year after this year.
Yeah.
As long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
And, and play also prohibits him to continue his career moving forward.
Yeah.
And so I can definitely see it. Levi Wallace, I think, is on his last year of his contract here with Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there with him.
I can definitely see the Steelers moving on from Levi. And if Corey Trice can prove to be formidable, this could be a pretty good dynamic. I mean, and well, could you imagine if these two guys become, the next, pretty good pair of cornerbacks?
They're like the Aqib Talib and Chris Harris.
Right. And for a team that was known to not be the best at picking cornerbacks.
Yeah. I know. I'm excited for both of them. I think both have a lot of things to like about them. Both rookies, they're probably going to have a couple things where, it's typical rookie stuff, but they both, listening to both talk and seeing what they're both been doing. I mean, there's no reason to not be excited about seeing them out on the field.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I think it really is. I think this has the potential to be the Steelers' best defense since 2019.
Well, the biggest question mark is going to be the middle linebacker position.
Cole
Holcomb and Robinson.
Yeah. Roberts.
Roberts. Yeah. Sorry, my man.
Dude, it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Well, you got Roberts and Robinson out there.
I know, man. And then it's the whole Kim Pam thing. I'm telling you. Roberts. Those two guys, in my opinion, they're new. Well, they're new, right? Mm-hmm. That's first and foremost. And then you have Cole Holcomb who's coming in, slightly banged up a little bit still. They're easing him in. And so there might be a little bit of some growing pains in there early on in the season. But if it's better than what the Steelers have had, which is not a very high bar, with a Devin Bush and Miles Jack / Schobert tandem that has been going on for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I think this defense is going to be phenomenal, dude.
Yeah.
As long as everybody stays healthy. And the offense has to do their part too. I think the reason why this defense was so, I don't want to say bad, but they lacked pressure. They lacked quarterback sacks. They lacked, I know Alex Highsmith got home quite a bit, but as a unit, as a team, they weren't the same as they had been in the last few years.
Right.
And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that the offense just wasn't able to possess the ball in key moments. And when they were given the ball, off of turnovers and things, especially early on in the season, it didn't result into either points or maybe field goals.
Yeah. And hopefully that changes this year with the offense. It's we've seen the last 3 years, we'll say since 2018, we'll say the last almost 4 years, the offense has been pretty below average, to say the least. 2019 and all the way up. Even in 2020, when even though Ben threw like 30 touchdowns 2020, still the offense wasn't really quite what it needed to be. So hopefully this year, like there's really no excuse, because you upgraded the left side of your line. You are giving Matt Cannon another opportunity, and he's got one of the better young offensive skill position cores in the league. So if he can't make that work, then I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. I think Najee Harris can be bound to finally enter top 10 running back territory. What he did from week 9 to week 18, and once his foot was good and stuff like that, he was a monster. Jaylen Warren, we know what he's capable of doing, but they have a plethora of guys that you look at and say, you would not be surprised if any of these guys had a career year. But it comes down, Matt Canada is a big determining factor in it coming down to, and I hope he takes a leap. I hope he takes a leap in where he's able to, whether it's adapt to some different things, change some different things, really sit down with who he knows he's going to have right away and figure out, okay, what did not work last year, we're going to eliminate. What can we do better? What can we get to work better? What's maybe something different we didn't do last year that we can try to implement? And not saying that I hope he turns into the top offensive coordinator in the league. I'm just hoping that he takes a step forward.
Well, if we are to believe your favorite quarterback, Mason Rudolph, he was he was talking to the Pittsburgh Tribune, and he stated that there's a lot of and this is his quote. Rudolph stated, "There are plenty of new concepts. I can tell you that. I've had to learn." And so it seems that for the most part, there's been a lot of things more, added to this playbook. Maybe the playbook's being opened up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And to the point where the Mason Rudolph, who is going into his third year under Canada, is having to learn quite a bit from the playbook, I hope.
Yeah.
And so, if what he's saying is true, maybe perhaps we'll see some more movement. But the defense did have 5 turnovers the other day.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, at least it's only June.
100%, man. 100%. Because, we don't know what those plays were, what they were practicing on. Mark Robinson got one. He took it off of Kenny Pickett.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think that there's somebody else I saw that got one. Who was that? Maybe it was Mark Robinson that I saw.
Yeah, he picked off the ball, and they asked him if he knew who he picked off. He said, "I don't care." Nameless gray faces. I love his attitude. And he's a hard hitter, man. And if he can turn around, if he can develop into a slightly decent coverage linebacker, the Steelers could have another steal out of the 7th round.
Yeah, they could. That could really help them. They really could. Yeah.
Roberts is up there in age. He's not a long-term answer at the position.
Yeah, I think he's like 28, I think. Which is still not that bad, but I don't know. I don't really even know what to think of Atlanta Roberts, because when you look at his stats last year on paper, they're pretty good. But I don't really know ultimately what he'll bring to the table with Cole Holcomb. I hope that he's able to be a decent player. I know that he can tackle. I know that he's not afraid to do the dirty work as an inside linebacker. But yeah, 4-3. Okay, well, yeah, I don't really know what to think of Atlanta Roberts. Really, I kind of just want to let and see it play with him. So, his stats on paper last year looked pretty good, but other than that, like, there hasn't really been anything else that's jumped out with him over the years before that. So maybe like last year could have been a little bit of a breakout year for him. George, that's all right, man. We'll see you we'll see you then. Appreciate you tuning in.
Be safe, man.
Yeah, I think just so we get with these inside linebackers, just completely new starters, we just have to let it play out. That's probably their most questionable position that they got going in this year. But something still had to be done. I don't care what it is. Something still had to be done about it. I don't care what that would have been. You couldn't come back with what you had.
Right.
So
Claude says that the Steelers trade Mason to the 49ers, and he beats the Steelers in the Super Bowl and wins MVP.
Well, he might be able to. Well, look, if they're able to have like 2-3 different quarterbacks work well in that system, then I think you probably could put anybody in there.
Probably so.
Yeah. So, since it's still kind of Q&A and stuff like that, if you guys have any questions, you guys can feel free to put it in the comments. Daniel, if what year did you start watching the Steelers?
That I can remember, I think it was like 93.
93. Who would you say, if you could give me like some of your least favorite players you've ever seen in a Steelers uniform, who would you say?
My least favorite players?
Yeah.
Jarvis Jones. Lima Swede.
Yeah.
Let me think. Who did I just not like? There weren't very many. I wasn't a hater of Artie Burns. I thought he did all right, and then he just kind of things got to his head, and he just kind of fell apart.
Right.
a lot of people say Neil O'Donnell. He ended up throwing that Super Bowl. But my memory of Neil is, I remember that Super Bowl. I was pissed, man. Yeah, I ended up not going to school for like a week after that because I live in Texas, man. So everybody that freaking went to my school was a Cowgirl fan, and so
that's rough, dude. That's rough.
Yeah, man, and they were talking smack before the game, so I mean, of course, I'm going to tell them smack back. You know what I mean? And so we lost, and I was like, man, I'm going to have to go walk into this and hear all these guys and gals talk smack who already talks. I mean, over here in Texas, they talk about them going to the Super Bowl if they're down like 4-9. There's still a chance for them to go to the Super Bowl. They're down 4-9 in the in the standings.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how obnoxious they are when they won the damn thing?
Oh, dude, I bet.
And so, yeah. Like, for
instance, I didn't hear the end of it all year.
I didn't, man. I still don't hear the end of it. What are you talking about? That's the last time they did anything.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So we still don't hear the end of it. Oh, Brian Brown comes in with Dante Moncrief. Yeah, that one he was one that I didn't like either, Dante Moncrief.
Dante Moncrief, what? He lasted, 2-3 games?
Yeah, he did. And he caught the ball in some of those situations or not turned them into turnovers. Yeah, I think the Steelers end up in the
Dude, you know who I never liked was Ross Cockrell.
Really?
Oh, I thought he was terrible.
I wasn't a fan of his either. I just didn't think he was terrible. I just wasn't a fan of his.
Dude, our secondary in 2015, Cockrell, Antoine Blake,
yeah.
William Gay, Will Allen, and Mike Mitchell.
Well, William Gay wasn't bad, but he was.
I liked William Gay. Yeah,
he's not supposed to be your lead guy, though.
No, I liked him. But dude, what they had there, and then like they had who else did they have at corner that year? Like Cortez Allen was never freaking healthy.
When he wasn't great either.
Yeah, they had who else was on that 2015 team? Blake, Cockrell, Gay, Cortez Allen.
Was Mitchell on the team already?
Yeah, he was on the team that year. Yeah. Dude, it was freaking awful.
Yeah, man. I think I blocked out most of the defenses.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty sad, man. I mean, and the thing is, that's like in the height of Killer Bees, Ben is prime of his career.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If we had a defense that was somewhat a shadow of what we have, now.
Oh, for sure.
7, 8 trophies in the closet wouldn't be hard to believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. They that's one thing too, dude. We'll say from 2014 all through 2018, they did a terrible job of putting together a defense.
Yeah. Best touchdown dance ever. I reckon you're talking about the one with William Gay against the Bengals.
Yeah.
Dude, that was were you watching that game where he took the interception to the house?
Oh yeah, yeah, and then he was dancing with Joey Porter and stuff.
Yeah, what were your thoughts if you remember back then? Like, what did you think about that?
Oh, dude, I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
So hard.
Did he get flagged for that?
Oh, multiple flags.
Yeah, he probably did.
But they could only give him one, so he kept going.
Yeah, so he just kept doing it. Yeah. Well, the Bengals deserved it. Do you think the Steelers would have lost that wild card game if Andy Dalton played?
I don't know, man. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think there was that big of a drop off between Dalton and what was it, AJ McCarron?
That was the year though. Dalton had a pretty good season though.
Yeah, but the Bengals they always find a way to screw themselves.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they're still jokes. Claudia asked what veterans get cut this year. Is there anybody you can think that's a veteran that could be on the bubble?
A veteran that gets cut. I mean, we talked about maybe perhaps. I mean, I don't think so. I don't
think so either.
Let me kind of run down it. Because running backs, you're good. Receivers, you're good. Linemen, I think you're good. You might get somebody get hostile, like a Dotson. It's kind of going down that path. that you might see.
him. I mean, he's 4-year guy.
Yeah, that
Loudermilk maybe, but I don't want to consider him a veteran.
Right. And that's on the defensive side. Linebackers, I
Zach
think.
Gentry, you think he gets cut?
I don't think so. I mean, Firemuth ended up having, he's had some concussions in his career. And so you're going to want to keep that guy. Plus, I think Connor Hayward's going to be utilized more as like a fullback.
Okay.
And like a swing back type of situation. So,
Right.
Let me think. Cornerbacks, I mean, they already cut Akilah Weatherspoon. That was the
Claude says Norwood, Gunner, Gentry, maybe Green.
Norwood is a guy I think could end up being on a practice squad. I can see that being the case. Gunner, definitely, I think he's going to be gone. Gentry, I don't think so. Green, if he's taking reps as second center, not only is he going to make the team, but he's going to have a helmet on Sundays.
Yeah, he is.
If he's the backup
but
center.
Hey, if he's doing some good things though, I'll trust the Steelers' evaluation.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not gonna play GM or anything on that.
No. But I agree. I think Norwood is probably on his way out. Gunner, same thing. I'm surprised Gunner's still here.
Yeah, I know.
Gentry, I don't think is. I think he's going to be safe.
Jennifer, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Looks like she got a shout out from Brian McFadden and Patrick Pearson. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. All right, Daniel, if you had to give me somebody this year that you think's going to disappoint for the Steelers, who are you going to say?
Matt Canada.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if he disappoints for the Steeler fans, that means he did good, because I think everybody's expecting him to suck. I really don't think there's going to be very much disappointment. I mean, there might be some growing pains, especially if Broderick Jones ends up starting week 1. He's got a hell of a three outside linebackers there. He's got Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, and then Max Crosby back to back. I mean, that's an onslaught of opponents. And don't think for a second that the Steelers aren't going to throw, a rookie player out there against, formidable opponents. I mean, last year they threw Kenny Pickett out there against the Buffalo Bills, the Eagles, Miami Dolphins, and the Buccaneers, which those two teams at the time were doing, pretty good. And so, I don't think they look at their opponent as a measuring tool as to whether or not they're going to start their rookie or not. I think they're going to look to see as if their rookie is ready. And, they might even say, hey, there's going to be some growing pains. Let's get that out of the way right now. Let's put him out there. And so we might see some growing pains out of that, but I don't think we're going to get total disappointment once the season is over. The same thing might be able to be said about the middle linebacker position and the defense. I mean, if you look at the defense alone, I mean, the 2 inside linebackers gone. You have Cam Sutton, Arthur Mollett, Terrell Edmonds gone. So there's 5 of your starters from last year that are not on the team. Akilah Weatherspoon as well, who was a starter going into the season. Yeah. And so, I understand you have your big 3 there, and TJ and Cam and Minka, but you got a lot of new players there. Lots of new players. Some of them are going to be rookies. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of some growing pains coming out week 1 or 2 of the season. But I think the Steelers can get it together.
Yeah. I think so too. Do you think that Johnson and Pickens can both have 1,000 yards this year?
Oh man, that's tough. And it's not so much it's tough because I don't think that they're not capable. I think that there's just a lot of areas where the ball can go. You're going to have, Pat Freiermuth, taking some of those throws. Not the running back, whether it's Najee Harris or Jaylen Warren, they're going to be, taking a lot of receptions as well. And I think the Steelers' identity at this point is running the ball. I don't know if they're both going to have 1,000 yards, but I definitely can see at least one of them having 1,000 yards. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I do truly think that the Steelers are going to move they're going to open up the playbook a little bit more and try to put some more points on the board, and live a little bit more aggressive. This play not to lose stuff versus trying to play to win it only gets you so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely does. That's a philosophy they got to change. So, and I hope they do. Like, I have my concerns with Matt Canada and stuff. I think that he, to me, and Kenny's got to take a jump as well. But I think, to me, he's my biggest concern because I don't like him. I haven't been a fan of him the last 2-3 years, however long he's been here for. I just think stuff he wants to do just doesn't work at this level a lot. But I hope that he's able to, throughout this offseason, adapt to some modern day NFL philosophies, concepts, and stuff. And that's all you can do is just have some fingers crossed and hope that they can add some different stuff offensively that they haven't done. And I hope that they do that. Now, I'm confident in them running the ball.
Right.
I'm confident. I like what they did the last half of the year. I like James Daniels a lot. I like St. Malu, obviously, upgrading the left side. So I think that they're going to run the ball pretty well. But when it comes to trusting your quarterback and not going away from whatever's working with your wide receivers like they like to do, that's got to change. But we know red zone efficiency is the number one thing that's got to change on the offense, 100%. That's probably one of the very top things that has to change. But I hope that he's going to implement some different stuff that they haven't done. I hope so.
Yeah,
I don't see why he wouldn't. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. But also, when you have somebody that maybe doesn't have the knack of being a play caller at this level of football, sometimes there's only so much you can do. So time will tell if Matt Canada can be taking a step forward this year, if he can hang at this level, or if he can't. We'll see.
100%.
Claude says play action should be off the chain this year. Yeah, that's something as well that they can do.
But the thing about that is, that's where I get critical of Matt Canada, is that there wasn't a lot of play action, even last year. I don't remember who it was. Somebody was showing some statistics about the Steelers and their play action pass. And they were at the bottom of the league. Even when the running game was successful, they just weren't doing it. Now, I get it with Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't want to turn around. I don't understand why they don't want to do this with Kenny Pickett, who has some wheels and legs. Maybe it's a processing thing. He needs to see the field longer. And hopefully maybe throughout time. Do you watch Pitt football? Were you a Pitt fan? Are you a Pitt fan?
Not really. Not really.
Gotcha.
I'll tune in every once in a while, but not really.
Got you. I was going to ask you if you knew or not whether or not, Kenny Pickett ran a lot of play action in college.
Yeah, I don't know his percentage of play action in college. But like Matt Canada wasn't even like a coach of his in college either. So
no, I know that. But I want to know if it's a coaching thing from Canada. He doesn't like play action, or if it's a quarterback issue. He doesn't want to. He needs to process the field.
Right. I don't know. I think with them, like it seems like a big focus is running the ball this year, and I think if they're able to be one of the better teams at doing that, then it can definitely work better for them. How often they do it, well, that's hard to say. Put down the Pitt glasses. Yeah, no, I'm definitely not a Pitt fan.
I don't watch college ball until draft time. That's when I try to catch
draft
up.
Time. That's when Daniel catches up. Yeah. So, Claude said the offense struggles and Canada will be replaced by the new passing coordinator. I mean, that's possible. That's possible. I think the fans want to see the guy succeed and the offense to be good. But
are you sure? Todd Haley said that he had like the top offense at the time.
Yeah, but Haley was weird with certain stuff, though, dude. Like he was weird with certain things, dude. I think he left a lot left to be desired on the offense when he was here. I really do. Like him or Ben, Brown, Bell, and Bryant, like they like hardly even played together on the field. But I still think that there was still a lot left to be desired there. Like if you go back and look at statistics and look at the numbers and stuff like that, and look at like just like on offensive scoring and stuff like that, not individual stats, but like they never led the league in offensive scoring under Todd Haley. They never did.
Maybe not. Didn't they have the? But then again, I mean,
like they never averaged.
No, I understand that. I mean, there was that year.
There was a lot of inconsistencies, dude. Like there were a lot of times where they would score like 17 points, 20 points a game, 23 points a game. A lot of times that and even now, like that's one of the things that goes with Tomlin is him playing down to his competition. But like there were times where the Steelers, where they would just flat out lay an egg. Jared Devil says Ben and Haley rarely got along. Yeah, they didn't really get along for quite a while. But yeah, I'd like Todd Haley.
But even Ben brought it up in his podcast. He talked about how they were scoring 30 points a game with Todd Haley at the end.
They definitely weren't. They definitely weren't.
They were pretty close though. They were pretty close at the end.
Honestly, like
that was the year that
I think that was.
I mean, it may have been Randy Fichtner when Ben threw for 30 TDs and had like 16 interceptions, or led the league in TDs. But also
2018 was Randy Fichtner. That's when
right.
Haley's last year is 2017. So, but I think if you go back and look at team stats on offense, I think some of them will surprise you in the sense that it's not quite as good as you might thought it was.
I mean, maybe not, but the team wasn't always the Steelers have never been a team to light it up, and when they've had a comfortable lead, they weren't a team that was going to light up the score and shove it down the opposing team's throat, so to speak. And so the stats weren't always what mattered for this team. But
no. But dude, Haley did some weird stuff, dude. Like he did some really odd stuff. Like, dude, there were so many times where they'd be at the 1-2 yard line that they would just throw like a 5-yard pitch to Le'Veon Bell, turn over on downs. Dude, I remember that. I don't know if you remember that or not. That was like what game was that? I can't remember what game it was, but it was a pretty big freaking game during their season. And I'm like, what are you calling? What is that?
Well, there was a lot of
you pitch the ball 5 yards back to get a yard.
Right. I think I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think in terms of what they had offensively, there was a lot left to be desired from Todd Haley. That's just my opinion.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. But there was different, the Steelers offense hasn't been the same since.
No, it hasn't. But also when you look at really a lot of their staff hires overall, not even just offense, it just hasn't worked out.
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, you also have some context there. You had an aging Ben. In my opinion, Ben was starting to count.
But like offensive line coaches, secondary coaches, linebacker coaches, like Keith Butler took over in 2015. He had some good, he had some bad, but their offensive line coaches after Mike Munchak, they couldn't get figured out. Their offensive coordinators, they couldn't get situated through. You look at before they brought Terrell Austin in, like they went through a handful of wide receiver coaches. They haven't been able to quite have the stability that maybe you would think that they would have in terms of certain skill position coaches. Now there's a few that they've been able to have stability and been able to get some good results from, but there's some that they've kind of tossed and turned over.
I'll agree to that. With that.
But that's the thing that a lot of people knock Tomlin on is that he's not he hasn't really had the best recent years of bringing in his own staff and his own hires. That's something that I'm saying I do that, but like that's one of the things that people will want to knock him for is that like his own hires or his own personnel staff and everything has been disappointing.
He doesn't have like a good coaching tree.
Yeah, like Sean McVay does, Kyle Shanahan does, like the Redskins did. The Redskins had a great coaching tree. That's where like a handful of those guys came from. You can go through some of the other teams too. So I don't know. Like I hope Canada takes a step forward with some of his play calling. I don't know, dude. He's just kind of my biggest concern with stuff. Jennifer says, do you think that the free agent we signed will call Canada out on his play calling if it's mediocre, referring to Allen Robinson? Why did Allen Robinson do that or something? Did Allen Robinson do that with the Rams?
He could have. I'm not familiar with that.
I don't know. It's possible. Like some of the players did that last year. So some of the players called out in terms of some of the play calling, like, oh, like we're just doing what we're told, and like Deontay has said stuff, Kenny said stuff. So I don't know. Not like saying Canada straight to face, but like in terms of kind of frustration with the offense.
All I'm seeing online is Matthew Stafford calls out Allen Robinson's effort. Matthew Stafford wasn't happy with Allen Robinson because I just put Allen Robinson calls out, see if something pops up. Allen Robinson lashes out at Jaguars fan for booing them.
Nice. Yeah. Guys, if you have any more questions, put them in. We're going to wrap up here soon.
I got a question for you before we wrap it up. Who is your way too early prediction for Rookie of the Year?
Just the NFL?
No, for the Steelers.
For the Steelers?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I want to say Broderick Jones, but I might say Keanu Benton. I might. I think he's going to start week 1, and I think that I'm not comparing him to anybody. I'm just going to wait and see him do his thing. But we know that the Steelers have had a hard time the last couple years with their run defense. Mm-hmm. And I really think that he's sooner than later going to be able to be a big help with that.
I think he will. But I'm going to go ahead and go with, and even though he didn't have a lot of splash in college, I think the NFL teams or NFL quarterbacks are gonna test him, and I think it's going to be Joey Porter Jr. And I want to say Broderick Jones. I think he might have the best year overall. But how do you grade splash and attributes to an offensive lineman? He doesn't give up any sacks the entire year. Something like that. I think
too. If you just like when it comes to run blocking, I think when it comes down to shutting certain guys down, maybe as a rookie, I think those are things that you look at too.
Right.
But yeah, Joey Porter. The reason why I didn't say him, I like him a lot. I was definitely in favor of them drafting him before they did. But the reason why I say him is just because I don't really know if he's going to be. If he's going to, I don't know what his snaps are going to be right away. I feel like Benton has a more higher chance of being involved with things more so right away than maybe he does. But he might start week 1, and he's been with the ones and stuff like that. But I just went with Benton for some of those reasons. But yeah, Joey Porter, that would be.
Yeah. I don't.
He's able to have a great year of a rookie. That'd be fantastic.
I can see Benton winning it as well. I just think that. Right now they're putting in Porter in, and they're moving in Patrick Peterson into the slot. I think that's going to be a temptation for a lot of NFL quarterbacks, saying, "Hey, there's a rookie, second-round rookie cornerback out there. Let's see what he has."
Yeah. What about you guys in the chat? Let us know in the chat. Who's your pick for Steelers top rookie this year? Dude, you know who I think? Do you think that the AFC this year is going to be what some people think it's going to be, just a complete juggernaut? I don't think it's going to be.
I mean, I think that was what the same stuff was being said last year about the AFC West.
Yeah.
The Broncos ended up falling on their face. The Raiders couldn't get out of their own backyard.
Spencer Anderson. That's great. Without a doubt. Yeah.
For sure. I think there's a good chance that that's going to be it.
Jones. Who's Jones?
Broderick.
Oh, Broderick Jones. Yeah. I blanked out there. Okay. Yeah, Broderick Jones.
So to me, I mean, I don't know I don't think the Jets are going to be as good as a lot of people.
Dude, their schedule sucks, dude. You see like their first 6-7 games of the year?
I haven't. Oh, I mean, I looked at it, but I haven't looked at it all.
Dude, let me read it to you. Here real quick. Dude, their schedule, like the first 6-7 games, is freaking brutal. But then they have it easier down the line, which might help them. But listen to this.
That's if Aaron Rodgers is still alive.
Yeah, if he's alive, if he's healthy, if he's playing, if he's not sitting in a dark room, who knows? All right, so they play the Bills the first game of the year on Sunday night. Or Monday night.
Right. That's a loss.
Then they're on the road against the Cowboys.
And they can win that just because of my bias.
Home against New England.
And they'll win that one.
Home against the Chiefs.
They won't. So they're 2-2.
On the road against Denver.
It's a toss-up.
Home against Philly.
That's a loss.
On the road against the Giants.
That could be a toss-up.
And then they got to play the Chargers.
The Chargers are good.
And then they play the Bills and the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
That's pretty brutal, dude. That's pretty tough.
And yeah, I don't think the Jets are going to be that great. The Patriots, I don't really believe in Mac Jones. You know, I don't think they're going to be that great either. I think the Bills are going to be formidable, obviously. The Jets, like I said, I just Miami. Also, I'm not really too high on. Like, I'm not high on Tua. And I know he had a good year last year or whatever.
I'm not either, dude. He just can't stay on the field.
Well, even that aside,
their offensive line, I don't like either.
Even that aside, when he was playing, the Steelers got their hands on four of his passes.
Yeah,
they should have come down with. And
I don't. He's not really. I don't think he's that good of a precise passer.
No, he doesn't have the strength. He's weaker than weak, and these receivers are too fast for his arm. Yep. And he got lucky a lot last season because that cornerbacks either weren't getting turned around in time because they were chasing these receivers. Yep. So I really think that last year may have been a little bit more of a fluky year for the East. I think the Bills are going to pretty much control it this year. The AFC South, I mean, who do you have there? The Jaguars? It's probably going to be the winner out of that division.
Oh, yeah, you would think.
I mean, they're probably, they're no slouch. I think, they were a playoff team last year.
Yeah, they got better as the year went on. They started a little slow too. The thing with them is, there he is. The thing with them is, like, I like Lawrence, and Lawrence got crucified for his rookie year.
Yeah.
And, he was this really high-end prospect. Well, dude, like, these guys' careers isn't 1 year. So, like, he got crucified for his first year. He had a pretty good transition into year 2. The thing with the Jags is that now they got Calvin Ridley now. And I really like ETN as their running back. So, like, it really benefits them being in a really crappy division like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that when it comes to them maybe playing some of the other AFC teams, like, that might probably will be where most of their losses come from.
Right.
But see, I'm not sold either on the AFC being the juggernaut that it is. Because, dude, there's going to be 1 or 2 teams that have all the hype this year that are going to disappoint.
Yeah.
There is. And I think the Chargers are one of those teams. Dude, I think the Chargers are the most overrated team in the league.
Really? See, the thing is, I think they have a pretty good quarterback.
Their quarterback's good. But dude, their head coach sucks. Yeah. Their defense is constantly always hurt. Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James. Rashawn Slater, their tackle, has been injured. Keenan Allen's a walking cast. Mike Williams is injured all the time. So, like, I don't trust their health to stay healthy. All these guys to stay healthy throughout the year. And I don't trust their head coach to make the right decision-making when it comes down to crucial situations. And that's, I think, what's held back the Chargers the last 2 years.
I mean,
I think it has.
I don't disagree with you. I don't like the way they manage the time of possession. And when they have a lead, they seem to not control the ball. So, I mean, like I said, a lot of people thought
there's at least going to be 2 teams that have this hype around them going in the season that are going to disappoint, just like the AFC West. Right. Denver got Russ, right? The Raiders got Devontae. Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think like the toughest teams that you're going to see probably in the playoffs are obviously going to be like the Bills, the Chiefs, and then I think it's going to be like the North is going to be pretty good. Now the issue is, the North play each other. The Bengals aren't a slouch anymore. I think the Ravens, they're going to be all right. They got some people that can catch the ball. I don't know if they have anybody that can throw it to them. but they got some players that can catch.
Yeah.
Beckham hasn't played in a while. He's got 2 ACL injuries in the same knee. I don't know. I mean, they're always a tough game because no matter who's playing, no matter what the situation is, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers usually a 3-point game.
Usually,
And so
it doesn't matter who's on the field.
You're right. The Browns, I think they're overrated. I think their quarterback is highly overrated.
My thing with the Browns is I like their roster, and I think that they did some good things from last year and this year with their roster, but I don't like their coaching. I don't like the organization. Deshaun Watson's a wait and see. But for me, it's dude, if you're you need to put it on the field and do it consistently first. That's what you have to do. You can have a nice roster on paper. They've had a good roster the last 4 or 5 years, and they haven't done crap
for a while.
Yeah. Off-season champs every year. So that's my thing is that's not me being a hater against the Browns. Yeah, I hate the Browns, but with them, it's dude, yeah, you guys have a good roster. You guys have a roster that when you look at it, you say, okay, this can be a good team, but you guys have to put it on the field. You have to find consistency. You got to be able to do it frequently. And that's something that these Brown fans just don't have. They don't have any type of freaking humbleness, any sense of winning, any sense of what consistency is like. So whenever they just do something out of the ordinary, they think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. So,
I mean, you can't trust an organization that throws a celebration when you go winless.
Yeah, well, no, you can't. You can't. So I'm not worried about the Browns. I'm not scared about the Browns. I like their roster. But you got to show it. You got to show it. You got to put it on the field first, dude. You guys are a losing organization. You guys had one year where you had a winning record and won a playoff game. Congratulations. You got to do it consistently for anybody to take you seriously. Z asked, my question is, who leads the league in sacks and interceptions and sacks? I'm assuming he's just thinking NFL. I guess Minka's Rod Woodson. Yeah, Claude says Minka will have at least 7 picks with 3 going to the house.
Jeez, that would be a great year.
Oh my God, that's great.
Oh man, I would love that. I just put up my Minka. I have an autographed Minka jersey. I just put up. That would be nice if he had that.
That'd be sick. I mean, that's freaking. I don't even know what to say. What type of season that is? Holy cow! Leading the league in sacks, Daniel. Who could you see leading the league in sacks?
Man, I think TJ Watt's coming back to reclaim his crown, yo.
Yeah, I can see it.
I
can see it.
The defensive line
is healthy. I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, you have some cornerbacks. If the Steelers, hoping everything goes as well as we hope that is, they're going to have a pretty stout, defensive back room. They led the league in interceptions last year. That's going to give an opportunity if quarterbacks are going to hesitate, that's going to give TJ Watt ample amount of time to go out there and cause some havoc. I think he's going to have a comeback year this year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that he's my early pick defense player of the year, and that's not me being biased either. Nick Bosa led the sacks last year with 18.5. God, man, I really wish TJ broke that record. I really did. Yeah, I don't know. I could see TJ doing it. Nick Bosa, maybe if he stays healthy, he'll be back up there. But I don't know, Z, who do you think? Let me know. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any more. So if you guys want to put a few more questions, you can, and we'll answer it before we head off here. Predictions for Odafe Oweh. Z, the guy's going to hit the unemployment line at the end of the year. That's my prediction for Odafe Oweh. So, Daniel, if you had to, if you had to give me a prediction on, who was I going to say? Oh yeah, if you give me a prediction of George Pickens' stat line this year, because I'm confident in him with what we saw with him and Kenny, and a lot of the plays he made, and I really think that if he was more so of a consistent, and it's not on him, if he was more so like a consistent guy that the Steelers really used even early on in the year when Mitch was there, and we saw games where like George was getting the ball and then they went away from him. I think that he's going to have a really nice year too. So if you had to give me, if you had to give me his stat line this year, what are you saying?
Let me think. So I'm thinking he's probably going to end up around the maybe 80 receptions, 85, somewhere around there. I don't really think the Steelers are going to be going, all out, try to throw it as, have 100 reception, receivers everywhere. So I'm thinking he's going to have about 85 receptions. And let's go with about 1,100 yards.
It's not bad. I think that's pretty realistic. Yeah. I think he's going to have a nice year too.
I think that would put, if we did it 1,100 yards, divide that by 85, it's about 12 yards, about 13 yards per catch.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. I think that's pretty solid, and I think he'll end up taking, 9 to the house.
That's pretty good. I'd love to see that. You confident in Deontay being able to kind of get back to his form from 2021?
So outside of the touchdowns, because he didn't get any last year, what was the difference in his form?
Well, like having like 1,100 yards, freaking.
Oh, being the 90. See, here's the thing. Ben force fed him.
Yeah, he did.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Ben force fed him, and I don't think that it's going to be the same situation. I can see him getting somewhere around maybe the same amount of receptions, having a little bit less yards, to be honest with you. Somewhere around the 900 yards with about 87 receptions, maybe even a little bit more, just because, well, I mean, I don't think that Kenny is going to be force feeding him. He really didn't when he went in there. He was spreading the ball pretty fluidly. Yeah. And so I don't think we're going to have 2 1,000-yard receivers. I think George might be the only one.
Okay. Brian, we appreciate you tuning in, man. We'll see you next time that we're on.
See you later, guys.
Z asked better cornerback duo, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, or Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. I think I'm going to say Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, Z. Xavier Howard hasn't really done much to knock me off my socks the last couple years. Jalen Ramsey, who really knows what to say with him with Miami, but I still think Jalen Ramsey's still a top 5 corner. But Sauce, DJ Reed, I mean, they're just really upcoming guys. Yeah, Omar. Well, Z, I know you think EDC is the greatest thing to happen to this earth, so. Yeah, I'm confident that Deontay's gonna have a better year. Don't really quite know about his stat line, but we know the way the Steelers have kind of operated this offseason, what it seems like they're looking to do, run the ball efficiently, kind of really what they did last second half of the season, and let things open up that way. How many touchdowns Darnell Washington having?
Darnell, man, I say he's gonna have at least 6.
Yeah, that's what I think he's gonna have, dude. I think that they're really gonna use that guy, as they should, they should, dude. You're inside the freaking 5, give it to him.
Just toss it up,
dude. Freaking give it to him. So, all right, Daniel, I'll ask you one more question here before. Z's got another question here. Another question here before you head off. If there's anybody else in the chat that wants to put another question off before we head off, feel free, guys. Again, this was just kind of a show of a little fun Q&A and just some Steeler talk. Daniel, when are the Steelers going to win another Super Bowl?
I mean, I want to say that, and my heart says this year, right? My heart says every year. Yep. I think the window is open this year. I think that they might be a little bit young, especially offensively. But, they got a solid coach in Mike Tomlin at the head of the ship that's going to steer them in the right direction. Yeah. The Steelers, they're a team that it's always good. They're always competitive. They're always in it. And I think they got a lot of talent. Even when they didn't have the talent, you're looking like a 2019, season or so. Moncrief, Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges. Connor was injured most of that year, and so the Steelers were still relevant, still had an opportunity to make the playoffs that year. Um, now that you have a lot more talent, you have the same, guy, at the head of the ship, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The window's open now, but I can realistically say that if Kenny Pickett makes the steps that he needs to make this year, the offense does open up a little bit more. I think that this window can be open probably for the next few years. I think TJ Watt has a few years left in the tank. Minka Fitzpatrick definitely does as well. Uh, Cam Hayward, he's going to be a guy that's he's down to his last year or two. You know, um, and so I think that the window's open while those guys are there as well. If Ben can be a guy, I mean, there's a lot of ifs. You know what I'm saying? Because the team's so young, we got to see what they're going to do. But I think the window is at least starting to open. It's realistic. I think going into last season, if you were to, especially knowing that it was Mitch Trubisky going to be the quarterback and all of the new pieces that the Pittsburgh Steelers had, if you realistically thought that the Steelers were going to win the Super Bowl last year, going into last year, that's some pretty high expectations. I think.
Excuse me. Yeah, it is.
That were probably unrealistic given the situation that they had. But realistically, I do think they have the opportunity. There's not a team that I don't think that they can't beat.
Yeah.
Last year, there was some teams I felt that the Steelers probably couldn't beat.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I think this year they can. Will they? We'll see.
Yeah. No, we'll see. Do you think? Hold on. Z asked a question: waffles or French toast?
I like French toast, man.
I think I'm gonna take waffles, but both are pretty good on the upper echelon.
They are.
Yeah, Z, how's being down the show series? Well, I can't remember number one the last time you've been online. Number two, it doesn't really count because you don't have the game. But yeah, Daniel, do you think that they could? Because when the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, they weren't going into that year. They were not viewed as a Super Bowl team. They were viewed as a team transitioning into the second year of Joe Burrow, right? And really just kind of more so viewed as a team that might be able to be a little competitive, but it's more so kind of seeing the development, some of the guys. And they end up winning, I think, 10 games that year. They had some good, had some bad throughout the year. But then as the final stretch of the season went on, they really transitioned and took off. So do you think the Steelers could be in that type of territory?
Oh, for sure, man. I think they're on that trajectory. The Bengals and with Joey Burrow, that first year, he didn't get the chance to finish it because he got injured. But going into that season, he was the number one guy throughout training camp and preseason. Kenny Pickett wasn't. And so he had a really late start. And so who's to say if, the Steelers playbook and offense was more tailored for Kenny Pickett and not Mitch Trubisky. And Kenny Pickett got that, entire time to gel and mesh with his receivers and his offensive coordinator. I think Kenny Pickett could have had an even better year than he did last year, and could have superseded what.
Yeah, I think if he started week one, I think that he probably would have had he probably would have had rough patches as he did when he first started. But I think it would have been better for him if he started the first week.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
I really think it would have. Because they put him in a situation when they started him, he comes into the Jets where he's had zero preparation for anything. And then he's got a tough 3-4 games that he's got to battle. Mm-hmm. And the Steelers defense wasn't playing good football during that time themselves. They weren't able to run the ball at the time during that. And then finally, once we hit the bye week, then we finally saw the progression really throughout the team as a whole in general. 100%. So, yeah, I like them a lot this year, just in the sense of being better than last year, being able to make noise, being able to be a competitive team. I think they'll be in the race with the other teams in the North themselves. Not saying Super Bowl this year, but I think if they could win a playoff game this year, I think that would be a great step forward for them.
100%.
As a young unit. So I think that, as I've said before, that I think their door right now their window has opened. I think it's going to be open for quite a while in their future and stuff. So I'm excited to see what they do. But I'm not going to make like really bold takes or anything right now. But I think that they can be a good double-digit win team that you look at them and say, yeah, like they They're a good
Just
team.
say it, Nate. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen. But just my overall consensus of them this year, I think that they'll have a good year, and you can look at them and really be excited about their future.
100%.
Stuff like that. So Z says French toast definitely number one, but waffles trail close behind hash browns, come in at 3 over pancakes. Then bacon at 4, omelets at 5, pancakes at 6, bagels 7, English muffins 8, sausage 9. Well, I know, Z, that you really thought this out, because I know breakfast consumes your entire life. I've never seen anything like it in my life where breakfast has been so consumed by somebody and is on their mind 24/7. I've never seen anything like it. It's honestly an unbelievable thing with him. I actually have a show where I expose Z and say that he has a very unhealthy breakfast habit. So it's honestly very terrifying, but I know that's a very thought out list by Z. So sausage is kind of ass for breakfast. Z, it's not good. But Daniel, do you want to end it there? We're on an hour 20. We went longer than we thought, but we started to get some more questions at the end. So man. You'll get ended on that note.
Yes, sir. Let's put a bow on it.
So we'll put a bow on it, guys. To all you guys who have stuck around, we've had some consistent viewership throughout this episode, so we appreciate you guys sticking around and hearing our thoughts out there and answering some questions and stuff like that. So to all you guys in the chat, Claude, Jennifer, Daredevil, Brian, who else we got? I know Aquatic was in here for a little bit. George was in here for a little bit. Z's obviously in here. Deja Vu has been in here. Steelers fan.
Steelers fan left a long time ago.
Okay, she left a long time.
I just kidding. I don't know. She's probably getting all mad at me right now.
Yeah, probably. Well, it's just the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, Daredevil, Claude, we appreciate it. It's always good to see you guys in the chat. So all you guys who were in there today, who tuned into the show, thank you all so much. Z, this is what happens when you tune in a little bit late. That's on you. But Z will record tomorrow. So, but Daniel, good show, man. Appreciate the really the talk with just some fun Q&A and just some kind of random Steelers talk for this episode. So, guys, we'll be back today's Saturday. So, Daniel, we'll probably aim for either Saturday or Tuesday next week.
We'll
probably what we'll do.
Yeah, we'll probably aim for like maybe Tuesday on my channel.
Yeah,
Steelers.
That's fine.
If you're not there, go check it out.
Yeah, guys. So Daniel's channel, Stay the Steelers. I know Anderson. I know that I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably subscribed to Daniel's channel. If you're not, check it out at Stay the Steelers. He has it right there under his name. Check that out. He actually Daniel, you got a little S in there in the state part.
Oh yeah, I do.
He does. So yeah, as Taste of the Steelers. So it's not how it is. State of the Steelers, guys. Check Daniel out on YouTube. Check out his show, Drunk Turkey Show. They're growing very rapidly. They have some things coming up as well that I'm sure they'll be talking about on their channel. So you guys check them out if you're into some true crime and different stuff like that. Check them out. They've grown really well over there. But yeah, we'll be back Tuesday, guys. We'll be back not this Tuesday, Daniel, right? Following Tuesday. Or did you want to do this Tuesday?
We can do this. Well, one or the other. We'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll figure it out. So, guys, just keep up to date on Daniel's channel on when we'll be back next. It will either be this Tuesday or sometime next week, guys. So we'll be back. But thank you all, guys, again. And enjoy your weekend, guys. And we'll kind of see if there's any news that comes out over this upcoming week, guys. But until then, we will see you next time.
Welcome to the Unofficial Steelers Podcast, the podcast so unofficial it doesn't have a home. Here's your host, from In Hindsight, Nathan Heitz. From Steelers Nation Australia, Mark Davison. And from State of the Steelers, Daniel J. Here we go!